So you've decided to move to Arizona. Having done the same thing about 16 years ago, I've got some advice for you. All right, virtual real estate is location, right? You want to make sure you can get to school, you can get to work, you can get to the things that you like to do that are important to you. You don't want to be too close to, family, or maybe you do want to be really close to family. You got to decide. Figure out where the traffic spots are. And if you're coming from like a really busy place, I came from Los Angeles, it was drastically different from there to here. Heavy traffic moved at 70 miles an hour on the 405. Not so much here. So you want to know where those hot spots are for traffic and plan around them, for your life, not just for the commute. Because if you change jobs, if you're going to other places, if you've got a, varying schedule, that'll become really important. Figure that out. Some of the specifics, if you are going to live anywhere near North Central Phoenix, there are these things called the Sevens. They flank Central Avenue, 7th Street and 7th Avenue. Those of us who live and love that area jokingly refer to that as the suicide lanes, because kind of like the San Francisco Bay Bridge, you've got traffic moving in both directions, and depending on the time of day, it flips. So you have to pay attention to the signs. If that scares the bejesus out of you, you might not want to live over there. But if you do, you just, you pay attention. It's not that big of a deal. You're going to be fine. If you're coming from a place heavily frequented by tourists, they may not bother you. Here, we get lots of them. If you do not like tourists, be aware. There are definitely places that you're going to see a difference in terms of the amount of people coming and going. Whether it's for sports, i.e. spring training in the springtime, call it from February 1 to April 1st. And really the whole season, I would truly say, is from January 1 to May 1, but that excludes all the people that come in for national championships of things, or football games, playoff games, Super Bowls, etc. Know what your feeling is towards tourists and choose accordingly. The landscaping. How important is your outside area to you, and what do you want to see? There are definitely parts of Phoenix, Metro Phoenix that is, that will mimic wherever you came from. There are lots of trees down Central Ave in North Central Phoenix. North Scottsdale is more desert-ish and it's more territorial. You might find adobes, things like that. Arcadia feels more like Southern California. I was at a listing yesterday and the clients said to me that it's a lakefront property. It reminded them of Florida. Know what your spice is. Where are you going to be happiest, and kind of plan for that. If you love grass, which lots of people do, I'm one of those people, you may not love it so much once you realize what it costs to water it. We have this thing called winter lawns and summer lawns. In the winter lawn, we use rye, which kind of mimics the grass that I grew up with on the East Coast. And in the summertime, we have Bermuda, which is really drought resistant, will tolerate the heat and keep on coming back. About August, September-ish, October at the latest, everybody that cares about grass oversees their lawn and waters the bejesus out of it. The result is beautiful green grass that transcends the seasons. The downside is it's really expensive because you're paying for a couple different kinds of seed and lots of water to germinate it and keep it going, etc. So kind of pick your poison. There are ways to find out, ask the current homeowners if you're buying another house, or if you're renting, perhaps ask whether the landscaping is included in your monthly costs. Because also with desert landscaping, some of it is not particularly friendly, but it is very wallet friendly. You just don't want to touch it with your bare skin, as I've done a couple of times. Next thing, if we're talking about rains, it certainly brings up monsoons. I did not know when I first moved to Arizona there's a thing called monsoon season. What that means is we get lots of rain somewhere between July and I would say the end of September. And that means anything from, light sprinklings of rain to all-out deluges of water that wash things away. And you've got sticks in certain roads, and they're not to remind you that there's a golf course nearby. They've got numbers on them. It's to know how high the waters are. And we don't want to drive through them because there's this thing called the stupid motorist law. And if you drive unknowingly into a stream of water, which is not such a small stream, it will wash you away, they may come after you for the costs associated with first responders to assist in pulling you out. That is rare, but you do need to know this stuff and plan accordingly. If you like to have your car washed every week and it's monsoon season, you may ease up a little bit on having your, concierge service come wash your car every day because it just is going to get really dirty again. That's okay, we wash it. I would say summer is truly the best time to come. You can just embrace the heat and just dive right in. It's probably the best thing. I moved here I woke up and it was cool and overcast in Southern California at the beach. And I drove here and it was 116 and there was a monsoon storm. So I really dove right into it. There was no turning back. After that, truly, if you make it through the first summer, it's all upside because once the heat subsides, man, fall is glorious. Winter isn't bad either. If you're an outside person like I am, you tailor your schedule a little bit. If you don't want to give up summertime during the hottest months of the year, you plan your day around what you're going to do outside first. And you do that first thing, like as in before 7 o'clock or as close to that as you possibly can, or risk, getting more sun exposure than you want or need. At the end of the day, it's still a nice time to go outside and hang out and sit in your pool or, talk to friends. So you work around it, and it's kind of the price that we pay for having 300 plus days of sunshine, very almost never a natural disaster, anything along those lines. Small price, right? We don't have daylight savings time. So if you are used to, the fall back and the pushing forward, we don't do that here. We just don't. But everybody else does. So it makes it interesting when you're calling family and friends on different time zones, and you'll adjust to it. There's, I think, maybe a 3-month period. Sometimes we run with Pacific Standard or Pacific time, and then sometimes we run with Mountain time. Just remember, we're Mountain Standard Time all the time, and you'll be fine. Just DVR or watch on demand, or just get some streaming services. So you'll be okay. Hydration, gotta stay hydrated. We're in the desert and it's really important. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So it's best to carry water with you at all times. In fact, if you know me, if you've ever worked with me, I usually have water with me wherever I go. And there's a very good reason for that. Remember when I said I moved here, it was the middle of summer and it was, hot and everything? Well, I was 5 months pregnant. If you don't stay hydrated when you're pregnant, it causes early labor contractions. So I found myself in triage about 3 or so times and ended up in the high risk category, which was super fun. Stay hydrated. You don't want to be in that position. Really, you can just have nothing and dehydration will not work out well for you. Carry your water, refill it, drink it, know how much you sweat, know what your intake needs to be, know what your output is, and you'll do fine. Stay aware of your surroundings. Know what kind of plant life, wildlife, obviously we already talked about the weather, but understand how it might impact you. Let's just say you're outside and you've got a xeriscape, which they are awesome because they're super drought tolerant and they will save you lots of money, and they're really cool architecturally looking, depending on the type of architecture your home is. Unless you've ever kicked a cactus, which I unfortunately have kicked a barrel cactus before, that was not pleasant. So you'll want to be aware of which ones are around you, and the really cute fuzzy looking ones they look really soft, the teddy bear cactus or the jumping choyas or any of those, they're not so nice. They look really friendly, but they hurt, and they might require like a pliers or something along those lines to take them out. Just know where your body parts are at all time when you're outside near some of these. Otherwise, you can, look for stuff that is a little bit less desert and a little bit more tropical or whatever else. Let's see. Wildlife. This is kind of a big one. We've got lots of critters. Every place in the country, in the world does. You have to just know your stuff. We have cute little bunnies, we have little ground squirrels, we've got hummingbirds and lovebirds and all kinds of really neat things that are out flying and crawling and creeping and whatever. You also need to be aware of things like scorpions. They are not so nice. I found this out the hard way in the middle of the night at 4 o'clock in the morning when I stepped on one. Ouch. Some places have scorpions and some truly do not. I mean, I've lived in my house for over 10 years and I've only seen one. And ironically enough, it was the day before I had a snake in my kitchen, and had never really seen many of those either. Fortunately, this was a very, very mild, friendly bull snake, and they are more likely to eat critters that I don't want in my house, like mice, because we've got, fruit trees, and so do our neighbors. But he did not have or she did not have a rattle, so it was not a rattlesnake. But I can actually tell the difference between the two. And if you're moving to Arizona, you should be able to also. You should be able to tell when you're looking at a spider if it's got two little triangles, like an hourglass shape, pointed to each other, on its back. That's a black widow. You want to make sure that it is removed as fast as possible. Once I was doing a termite inspection with a client, or with a termite guy for a client, and we found a nest of black widows in their house, maybe a little before they were supposed to close, and they were having a brand new baby. So you want to be aware of these things, and like the termites, you want to know about those as well. We have subterranean termites, and we joke in Arizona there's only two types of houses: the houses that have termites and the ones that are going to get them. So keep all that in mind. You don't need to freak out. You just need to know, you want to protect your pets. Like if you live in an area that's kind of like near a mountain or something, there are hawks and coyotes and things. The very first time I ever heard coyotes howling in the middle of the night, I literally put the covers over my head like a little kid, until I realized it was like a regular thing, and they're actually really afraid of people. Now I run at them and I chase them. I guess I'm pretty scary looking. It works. So pay attention to that stuff, and talk to your neighbors and talk to the people around you, and find out what they know or what they see, and everybody can help each other out. I would highly recommend, if you have small pets and you're gonna live near a place that has either a big arroyo, off of a golf course, or near mountains or hills, or just that there are hawks or mountain lions or bobcats or whatever in the area, get an enclosure for your small pet just to keep them safe. Or, I have friends who've taken their puppies out and keep them on a leash just to make sure that that they're not taken off. Like if one swoops down, that you have some way of anchoring your pet. Truly, I tell you this not to scare you, and this is not an everyday occurrence by any means. But if you care about your pets and your kids and whatever, you just want to know this stuff and be prepared. So hopefully you're still really excited about moving to Arizona, and it is a great place to be and to raise a family and to live your best life. If I missed anything, or if you have any other questions, or you can think of some other off-the-cuff thing I didn't think about, please reach out to me. My last clients told me they love Trader Joe's, and I sent them a map of every Trader Joe's within a 15-mile radius, because that's what we're supposed to do, is help you find the stuff that you need to live your best life here. And I am excited to help you do it. I look forward to seeing you in my town.